She didn't plan to either, assuming she succeeded. At the edge of her vision, a hairy finger stretched toward a pair of shiny silver toggles on the control panel. Fritz had been desperate to flick them all morning. "No touching," she said, swatting his hand away. Fritz hopped back to his stool and sat on his heels, innocently twiddling his thumbs. Luca nodded toward the jar. "I hope it works this time." "No, I know it will. Also," he added thoughtfully, "I'm pretty sure that's our last heart. Don't jinx it." Frances wasn't the type of girl to believe in jinxes, but he was right about the heart being their last, and she wasn't about to take any chances. With the final screw tightened, Frances inspected the control panel, double-checking, then triple-checking her work. Everything looked to be in order. "It's going to work," Luca said, peering over her shoulder. "Luca!" "Right. Sorry." He pulled an imaginary zipper across his lips. Frances sighed and flipped the switch. She leaned over the table as Luca and Fritz crowded in beside her, watching the control panel blink to life. Electricity hummed as a faint glow illuminated the ethanol solution. Inside the jar, the heart twitched. "It's beating," she whispered. "It's actually beating." Luca put his face to the glass. "That's what it's supposed to do, right?" The movement was weak and irregular, but seemed to grow stronger as she watched. Frances had done it. After weeks of trial and error, she had restarted a heart. A pig's heart, but that was just the beginning. Soon she would figure out how to keep a human heart beating, one that was still in use. A seed of hope bloomed in her chest. "I told you it would work," Luca said, grinning. "Didn't I tell you?" Frances turned to glare at him again, but was stopped by a sudden ringing. For a moment she wondered if she was getting another migraine. They had become a more frequent occurrence since her procedure. She didn't feel a headache coming on. "Do you hear that?" she asked, twisting a pinky in her ear. "Oh, sorry." Luca slipped a silver watch from his pocket and pressed the button at the top to make it stop ringing. "You told me to set an alarm, remember?" Frances grabbed the watch from his hand, nearly knocking him over as the chain pulled taut against his vest. 2:28. She was so engrossed in the experiment, she forgot about her other important task of the day. "I have to go," she announced. She shut off the control panel and pushed her stool out from the table with the backs of her knees. "Now?" Luca said, spinning to watch her hurry toward the door. "What about heart?" Fritz signed. Frances forced down on the latch and leaned back, using her weight to pull open the heavy iron door, which groaned on its hinges. "We'll let it cool down and restart the experiment when I get back. Just don't touch anything." At the last moment, Luca stuck out his leg and stopped the door against his shoe. "What if Hobbs comes to check on you?" "Tell him I've gone to the bathroom. He has no idea how long that takes. Trust me." She hurried across her father's workroom, hopping over a pair of foot-massaging boots and twisting around an inverted umbrella that collected water and dispensed it with a straw. Luca followed at her heels, aghast. "You want me to lie? A little white lie?" At the other end, Frances pressed an unmarked stone to activate the false wall and bounced on her toes as it made its laboured rotation, turning sideways and slipping through the moment a space appeared. "I'll stop at the bathroom on my way back if it'll make you feel better." She ran past the circuitry station, the chemistry station, and the zoo, making a mental note to check on the animals later. Soon the hallway opened into the foyer, where a portrait of her great-grandfather, Albrecht Grimmer, kept a watchful eye on the expansive underground laboratory from his perch above the elevator. She could still see the ridge of a carefully mended tear across his face. The scar suited him, Frances had decided. Nothing tells a story quite like a scar, and few knew that better than her. The elevator hadn't been used since she and Luca had descended that morning, so it opened without delay. Luca called in after her, tilting his head to keep her in sight as the doors closed between them. "Where are you going, anyway?" "Getting the mail," she replied. The elevator groaned and began to rise. The postman arrived.